everybody. Welcome. This is Wiki Day Tricky Tree Day 2023. Boy, I've been working a long time. How about you, David? How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and I'm excited to be here tonight.
I know this is
Gonna,
exciting. This is the very last presentation for, let me get it right this time, WikiTree Day 2023, and we are talking global. We are going global. How about that video, guys? Did you like it? So where is WikiTree going to take you? I asked a question earlier in the chat. If you could go to any country in the world, where are you going? So we're going to talk to David Randall. He is kind of coming up with this idea that we are launching January 1st, 2024. WikiTree is officially going global. We are going to have every project represented on WikiTree. And David, you're going
country
to
represent.
need a lot of help.
I am going to need a lot of help, so that's one of the reasons I'm here tonight. But as Sandy said, we have a new project coming out on January 1st, and some of you have heard me talk about it in the past. I was on Bingo a couple times, and I spoke about it at the WikiTree games. So you may have gotten bits and pieces. But tonight, I'm actually going to take you on a tour of the project site and show you some of the things we have in store. It's still a work in progress. We've got about 2 more months to work on it, but we're getting there. So let me tell you a little bit about what this project is and how it came about, and then we'll head on over to the website and like I said, I'll take you on a tour of what we've got going. So many of you know that I have been hosting the 15 Nations Global Tour for the last year. We started back last year in January, and every 3 weeks we have visited another country of the world. It was 15 nations because it's the 15th anniversary of WikiTree, so we went to 15 different locations, and these locations were all countries that are somewhat obscure when it comes to genealogy. So these are not your mainstream countries like um, England, Germany, France. Those are really well covered, not only by WikiTree but elsewhere in the genealogical community. We went to places like Kenya, Malaysia, India, Panama, 15 I'm not going to say smaller countries because India is certainly not a small country, but as far as, again, genealogically speaking, these are countries that don't get a lot of attention. So every 3 weeks we went to a different country. We met 15 notables in each one of those countries, and we spent our 3 weeks trying to connect those notables to the global tree and also build up, enhance their profiles. All 15 of the notables that we chose each week, we started from scratch. They did not have profiles on WikiTree, so we were starting with CC7s of zero, and we wound up connecting 83 of our 225 notables. So that's just over a third. It's about 37%. We're still, right now, we're in Nigeria working on that country. So hopefully we'll get a few more before the project ends next week. So again, as I just said, the project is ending next week. It was 15 countries. We've just finished our 15th. Um, or we're in our 15th country right now, and after that, the project is going to cease to exist as it has been known, but we have some plans for the next couple months and then going into next year. So for the next couple months, what we're going to be doing is going back and trying to connect the remaining, I think it's 100 and something profiles that are not connected. Um, so it's kind of a redo, give us a chance to go back and catch up on some of the stuff that we missed the first time around. We're going to be doing that through November and December. But come January, I have decided that I cannot do another year, as it's been requested by some of my teammates. Let's do this again.
Mhm.
But to have to come up with 15 notables and create a project every 3 weeks and then
It's a
manage
lot.
it for the 3 weeks, it's a lot of work. It was
It's a lot.
a wonderful experience. I had a lot of fun, but I just can't keep up the pace because again, this was around the clock we're a global project. I have members in New Zealand, members in Canada, members in England, Argentina, so they're working around the clock. And when somebody has a question, who do they direct it to? But the program manager, and 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. That's a lot of work.
Well, you
So,
also, you created this 15 Nations tour, and that was really great for this year. So just to walk away from it and say, okay, we did it, that's not enough. We can't walk away from this. We have
no.
global community. We have people all over.
Hmm.
You just mentioned, and there are some people that may be interested in a smaller country that feel like they could contribute to WikiTree. And David has the whole list of countries. I'm going to let you guys know right off the bat. He has the list of countries. Now, of course, David's not going to recreate something like Scotland and Ireland. Those are already there. We're talking about he has lists of countries that need help, need a coordinator, right?
Right. So let's talk two points from that. First is what is it going to include, this new global project? This global project is going to have a project for every single country of the world. There are 195 countries, plus a couple areas that are not technically countries, but they have a lot of people, and genealogically speaking, are relevant. So we may throw a few extra places in there as well. But right now we're working with that number, 195, and we are working on 195 individual projects, sub-projects, to go with this global project. Now, that said, for those who belong to a project already that is a national country project, um, Scotland, England, France, Germany, Canada, Australia, all of those, this will have no impact on those. We are not taking over the country projects that already exist. But depending on how you count, there are only about 18 country projects, top level country projects on WikiTree. Again, that's out of 195. So that still leaves us 170 something countries that don't have projects associated to them. So again, if you are working with a country project already, don't worry, nothing's going to change. Um, when you go to our page, for example, if you are working on the Australia project, if you go to our page, you will see Australia, and a link. And when you click on it, it's just going to take you straight to the Australia project. And what happens from there is strictly up to the Australia project. So we are not interfering in any way with, with what's already up there. The other thing that Sandy mentioned is that we need volunteers, because I certainly cannot
Mhm.
effectively manage 195 or 170, whatever it comes down to when you subtract the current projects. Um, I can't do that effectively. Right now, my name is on all of them, well, most of them, as the project manager. But if you are interested in a particular country, and we don't already have a project or a project manager running that country, um, drop me a note and we'll see about um, getting you hooked up with it. And then from there, you can pull a team together, and what direction you choose to take it in is going to be up to you and the team. We're providing basically a template for you, so you don't have to start from scratch. And we'll also be providing you with some supervision and guidance, so that if there's something comes up and you don't know how to handle it, or you've got questions, you're going to have a support system. Um, but again, we're not going to be what do they get, micromanaging all 195. When I say we, meaning me, um, I'm not going to be micromanaging all 195. And in fact, I would love to get 195 managers out there, profile managers, because in addition to the global project, I got a whole lot of other things going on as well. The least of which is, my own family tree, which I haven't worked on since 2022. So that's
Well, I
that's
think
on my
it's in,
agenda for next year also.
it is, and I think something that is interesting, if you guys have been following along through WikiTree Day today, I've noticed some common things that are coming up in the live chats and also in Discord. How can I help? I want to do something a little bit more with WikiTree. I'm invigorated. This is some cool things that you guys got going on. We've seen programmers that said, hey, this Hacktoberfest was really cool. I want to help out, don't want to help code. We've seen that last month, and now we're starting to see a couple more people say, how do I kind of step in to helping and volunteering at WikiTree, as well as doing my own tree and doing my own research. And, there's one place studies and there's one name studies, but that's still kind of working on your own tree or your own location for the most part. Sometimes it's not, but for the most part, this is an excellent way to get started into volunteering on WikiTree on a little bit larger scale than just your tree. And like David said, there's a lot of opportunity here. So at the very top of this program, before we rolled the intro, I said, if you're going to go to a country, if you want to visit one, where are you going? As David said, there's a lot of countries still left to choose from. Now, if you are interested in, let's just pick Scotland. If you're interested in Scotland, you cannot claim Scotland. Scotland already has this project, like David said. David is going to have a master list of every one of these countries that he's talking about. And as he said, the ones that are already existing, when you click on it, you're going to go right there. So David doesn't have anything to do with those. The Global Project doesn't really have any oversight or anything to do with those. That's just going to link you to something that's already there. It was there the year before. It's going to be there a year after us. What we're talking about is all those countries that are not being represented right now, because we're taking WikiTree global. That's a pretty big statement.
Yeah, and you're going to see that list of countries in a moment, but it also, the reason we're even linking to the countries that have projects already is if you went there and we were missing 18 countries, we're going to get daily emails from people saying, "Where's Scotland? Where's Scotland?"
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't want to leave countries off the list. But again, when you click on it, it's just going to take you straight to their project, and again, what they do from there is going to be up to them. So no worries if you're part of one of those projects and you're just hearing about this now. We're not coming to take over your country.
No invading.
Yeah,
No
this is
invading at
not
all.
a new global government coming. Okay, so let's head on over to the page,
And
and
while David
I'm
shares
new at
his
Sheen's.
screen
But
real quick, let me just ask you a couple really, really good
sure,
questions. So,
go ahead.
as Carol asked, would you
Yeah, if we've
be
got
willing
questions,
to
we can
help
do
with
those now.
Japan? I lived there for 2 years. Do we have the Philippines, Peru, Colombia, Ecuador? So I think we're going to need a list, David. And then
Yeah,
Steve asked, Carol, we need a Japan project. I already have a person with Japanese ancestry that I need to help. So this is a really interesting opportunity where you could work together as well and make this what you'd like.
yeah. So let me answer in kind of a broad sense. I can't get into any specific country right now, but one of the challenges that I'm having to deal with, um, anybody can make a free space page on
Mhm.
anything they'd like. So when I search for something, I'll just use Japan as an example. If I go to Google and I type in WikiTree Japan, I may get a Japan project. But this may be a project that was started 7 years ago by somebody who added nothing to their page and is now no longer on WikiTree, but that project is still floating around there. But I don't know that. All I know is that there's a project out there, and I need to double check to make sure that there isn't somebody already doing something active that we're going to be interfering with. Now, some projects are official and some aren't, so that makes a difference. Um, but we do need to make sure that, if somebody is actively um, working on a project, that they kind of get first dibs at doing this. But um, generally, like I said, most of the countries, I'd say we've got, well over 150, if not close to 170 countries available. So there's a lot of room, particularly Asia. Um, I
And that's
the
good. That's what
country the
Carol's
countries that
asking.
use Countries that use non-Latin script tend
Hmm.
to be less well are less claimed than others. The closer you get to the West and the Europe, the more likely it is somebody's already claimed it or that we have a full project on it. Um, but what I'd like you to do is, if you are interested, I don't think the chat's saved, so I won't be able to take down the notes from what people are requesting here. But just drop me an email, and within a day or so, I'll get back to you and let you know. And we are getting our profile, our project managers in place right now. They don't need to wait till January to start getting things set up. Um, but January 1st is when we'll be opening it up to the general community.
And I just want to interject too. So, for those of you that regularly watch my bingo shows, David did launch this on a soft launch on my bingo a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And because of that, the people that were watching, he does have a few people that have already
Yep.
managing. I don't want to say adopt because it's not really adopt. So managing a country. So if you want in on the ground floor, this is it. If you have a particular country that you would just like to embrace and create, now David's created the space page. Everybody has pretty much the same space page, but you can add your flavor to it for the country as well, and
Yeah,
you can
we're
recruit.
starting out with a basic template for all of the pages that we're creating, which is going to save you a lot of work.
Hmm.
And that's again that we're going to go visit those in just a moment, so you'll see what we're talking about. But you can make changes, and you can also decide what kind of projects you want to work on. You can add additional pages, link pages if you want to do a notables project, if you want to do a cemetery project, if you want to, I've been watching all kinds of videos this weekend and
Yeah.
getting some really great ideas. But I'm not going into all that kind of detail. You're getting a basic starting point, and then it'll be up to you and your team to decide where you want to go and what kinds of activities you want to do. If you want to just keep it um, if you just want to work from your website, or if you want to do G2G challenges, and again, we can help you with all of those things, um, so that you'll get support. But it's going to be up to you to decide what direction you want your project to go.
Okay, so
And
David,
also,
yeah,
projects can have more than one manager. So even if I've got somebody, they may be open to having some assistant, or if you know somebody that you want to co-manage a project, that's always an option as well. We're not limited to one person per page. And some people are doing. I saw Darren put up a note there. Darren
hmm,
is going to be doing all of the Pacific Islands around Australia and New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand have their own projects already, but he's going to be doing the 14 smaller islands that surround it. So Fiji and Tonga and all of those little islands. So again, you're not restricted to one tree. Although if you're brand new and you've never done it, I'd ask that you not take on
too
too
many.
much stuff. But if you've got two countries that are neighbors or something, or that you're particularly interested in, um, that's something we can talk about as well.
Now, Murray had a great question. I have a great idea for it, but I'm not going to say it because I this is just what I would do. But I'm going to let David answer this, and this is a really, really important question, I might add. So, what about former countries?
Okay, we're going to address that when we get to the website. You're going to see what we're doing with former countries. That's a challenge because in the history of the world, there's been a lot of countries. So we're not certainly going to be able to address all of them, but I do have um, um, an answer for at least recent former countries. So
Well, let's see the
we'll
website.
address that when we get there.
You want to show
Pardon?
us the website? Because I'm
Okay.
curious.
So now again, I'm just learning how to do screen sharing, so
Mhm.
hopefully this will work. But I believe, well, maybe it was here.
You want me to bring it up? There you go. And then there you go.
Can you see? Can you see it?
We can see it.
Okay. So right now it says global proposal. That's because this website was created as a proposal that was submitted to the administration for approval. And I'm working on this page as my template, but when we get the page up, it's actually going to be the global project. We're going to transfer all this information onto another URL, and it'll be the global project page. If anybody, I don't know, did you put the link to this in the chat,
I did not
Sandy?
because I wasn't sure if it was open
It,
or not.
yeah, it is
So
open temporarily.
if you want to
So if
put
you,
the
y-
link in the private chat, I can bring it up.
yeah, let me do that. Or
And this is open, so people can, after this, if they're curious, they can go look and see if there is something there. They can go look and see the country.
okay, so this is going to be open probably just for tonight. So I won't close it tonight if people want to see it later on this evening or whatever after the show. But it'll be closed if not tomorrow in the next couple days. So it's something you're going to want to look at fairly quickly because this is kind of a special preview just for tonight's audience.
What happens if I see
Okay.
this tomorrow? How do I find out which countries are on your list?
Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to show you. But did it pull up again?
I just
Uh,
there you go.
you can see it again.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is the global proposal, and it's space global underscore proposal is the URL number. Um, and this is similar to what it's going to look like at the end. It's not the final draft, but it is it's the gist of it is here now.
Oh, sorry,
So
guys.
we've got our index. I'm sorry, did you say something, Sandy?
I'm sorry. The StreamYard is doing something new that just started, and every time that we copy our links, they're adding extra little junk to it. So I'm sorry. There's a page that David is looking at right now.
Okay, so we got it.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, very good. So what you see here in the contents, and I'm going to go through all this. We've got um, some information here at the top. But the main thing I want you to see is we have an alphabetical listing. So you can click directly to the letter of the alphabet that has the country that you're interested in. But I'm going to scroll down that and we're just going to start going through it. We've got the About Us section. The purpose, I'll just read this one out. The primary purpose of the global project is to provide a link to the WikiTree project for each nation of the world. This includes top-tier projects, sub-projects, and independent free space projects. The Global Project also provides oversight for those projects which don't currently have a project manager. So in other words, we're linking to any countries that have a site, and we're creating projects for any countries that do not have a a current project. Um, so let me show you what we have here just in that regard. The first thing we've got here is our regional umbrella projects. So there are 5 projects out there. Um, well, I'm going to say there are 4 projects and possibly a fifth because one of them is in question right now. But there are at least 4 projects that oversee a bunch of other um, global projects, country projects. So we've got an Africa project, we've got a Latin America project, we've got the Nordic nations and the Slavic nations. Um, and each of those oversees a bunch of other nations. Now, I'm in talks with the leaders of um, most of those groups, and I will be in touch with the remaining groups to see how they want to handle if they want to continue to oversee that group of countries, or if they want to put those under the global project. So we're working that out. But either way, all of the countries will be listed, and it won't really matter. Whether the global project oversees it or the Slavic nations oversees it, the country page will still be there, and there will be an active page. Now, if those countries, let's say the Latin America project doesn't yet have a country page for certain Latin American countries, which is the case, um, then we will work with them either in getting their projects up and going or creating those projects for them. But anyway, Africa, Latin America, Nordic nations, and Slavic nations are all active projects, and they do oversee several country projects. The United Kingdom project, somebody in the chat room may know, um, but I've been informed that that may be defunct, meaning that England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales are independent projects no longer working under um, the United Kingdom project. I don't know if that's true or not. So that's something I'm looking into. Um, but if it's, I've had trouble finding out who's in charge of the United Kingdom project, and if that's defunct, that could explain why. Um, but anyway, I'd just throw that out there. The next is our list of top tier projects. Now, this list here is just the England projects. Sorry, the European projects. And you'll look, I'm going to count real quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17. I count 17 projects that are related to European countries. Um, that again, including England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. So those projects will all stay in place just as they are. We're going to have no impact on them, but you will be able to link to their website. For example, if I click on Germany right here, you'll see it just takes you straight to the Germany project. Okay, so nothing to worry about. We are not coming for Germany. Um, and then down below, we have a handful of other countries that are non-European. United States, Canada, Mexico, the Bahamas, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, and Indonesia. Those all have projects that, as far as I know, are active. And again, I'm in the process of contacting all the leaders to make sure that's the case. If there's any others out there that you are aware of and I don't have on here, they are not on our master project list. But there have been a couple countries that have popped up that for whatever reason are not on that list. So if there's anything I'm missing, somebody send me a note and I'll check that out. Um, okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory there. And then we have our alphabetical listing. So you can see, I'm just going to scroll down real quickly as you can see how many countries that we have. Now, if they're in bolded letters, that means there's a link currently. If they are not bolded, that means we're still working on the page, and we will have the link up shortly. And in a moment, I'm going to actually click on a couple of them and show you what you'll find when you get there. But you can see it's a long list.
And this is a work in
Um,
progress. So,
it is a work in progress. We've still got a couple months before it launches.
and like for example, there's Norway. Norway doesn't have a link. We know there's a Norway project. We're not invading Norway either. It's just he's
Yeah.
working down the list. So don't get
Yeah, it just
nervous.
means I
Yeah.
haven't gotten to the ends yet. That's all that means. Yeah. And
I think as you go down this list too, and as everybody's looking at it, if you have a particular interest, if you've traveled there, you wanted to travel there, it's on your bucket list, you have ancestors there, you just are curious and always wanted to research one of these areas, all of these are good reasons to step up and volunteer.
Mhm.
And
And for me,
good
you know,
question, Steve.
I've been working on my genealogy for over 40 years. And sometimes I just get a little tired of the same names and places. I've got the same brick walls that I've had forever, and so this is kind of almost like a second hobby for me. It's not um, it's very distinct from what I do when I'm working on my own genealogy, which is fun, but sometimes, like I said, I need a distraction.
A
So
challenge, something
I do
different.
other people's genealogy, and so it's to me, somebody was asking me the other day, why I do this. That if it's not my family, to me, it's almost like some people do crossword puzzles, some people do Sudokus. I love doing the genealogical puzzles and figuring out how to solve problems that um, are lingering out there. So it's just a fun hobby in addition to my own genealogy. Okay, so there you see the list, and that's basically how it's going to look by the time we launch. I can't promise we're going to have all 195 up, but we'll have a vast majority of them. And the ones we don't have up, it's because people showed less interest, so nobody should be missing them if we get a little bit behind on those. So now I'm going to answer the question. I forgot who asked it, but about
Murray asked it.
former countries. And that's right here, defunct 20th century nations. And I'm just going to go down these here. There's a couple different categories. We've got name changes. Um, so some countries are still in existence, but not by the names that they used to. Now, this again is only 20th century. I decided to use that as kind of my hard cutoff. If we go back before that, with all the little German kingdoms and Italian kingdoms, we'd be going forever with our list. So these are just countries that existed in the 20th century that no longer exist. Um, Abyssinia is now Ethiopia. I'm not sure how we pronounce this. Basutoland is now Lesotho. Burma is now Myanmar. Ceylon is now Sri Lanka. Dahomey is now Benin. East Pakistan is now Bangladesh. Persia is Iran. Rhodesia is Zimbabwe. Siam is Thailand. And Swaziland is Eswatini. And we have annexations. Bohemia was annexed by Czechoslovakia. Newfoundland is now part of Canada. Tibet is now part of China. Zanzibar is now part of Tanzania. And a country called Sikkim, which I'd never heard of, was
Mhm.
annexed by India in 1975. So I can't believe I've never heard of that
So
before
if you're
doing
looking
my
for some of
research.
those countries that are no longer named what they are now, you've this list that we're looking here, those are the only ones that we're going to offer.
No, if somebody is interested in doing something before that, we can. But this is basically just a guide. We're not so much offering this, but if you say, well, my family came from Burma and I don't see that on here, we scroll down here, well, Burma is now
Down
Myanmar.
there.
So you want to join that project and they will take care of Burma because it's the same country. It's just, um, taken over now. Now, you might say, well, um, let me think of an example here. Um, my family's from Bohemia. We don't consider ourselves Czechoslovakian. Well, politically, geographically speaking, um, Bohemia is now part of Czechoslovakia, so they will cover Bohemia. If they want to do a separate sub project on Bohemia in the Czechoslovakia, well, actually, Czechoslovakia is not a country because if we look further down, we're going to see that
See that
Czech
is, yeah.
Republic and Slovakia have separated.
It
But we'll
looks
let
like
those country projects figure out what they're going to do with Bohemia. Just because, again, I've got 195 countries I'm dealing with. Until I get all those up, I can't really go back to the 18, 17, 1600s. Um, but if somebody has a specific project that they would like to create that's outside the parameters that we've set up,
then reach
email
out.
me and we'll see
Yeah.
what we can do. Yeah.
Now
We
we
might
have
do
an
it under the
interest.
global project. We might do it somewhere else independently.
We have an interesting question from Carol, and
Uh,
this is it's interesting. What about various indigenous groups? But you're looking at
okay.
more countries versus
hmm
tribes. Now, if I can answer some of this already because I've spoken with Amy so much with the Canada project, and I know from working in Appalachia that we've consulted with the Native American project as far as tribes go. For I would assume WikiTree wide, those are handled separately. Those are not going to be a global project as far as the country is concerned.
Yeah, I would say it kind of depends because when you're talking indigenous people, you're also talking ethnic
You really
groups.
are.
When you get into Europe, you have
Yeah.
ethnic groups that belong to certain countries. Um, so what I would say is if you came to me and you said, I have this ethnic group from New Zealand and what do I do with them? I'm going to refer you to the New Zealand project, and then they should be able to guide you onto whether or not they cover that,
Yeah.
or it's part of a separate group. So like in the United States, the Native Americans have their own project, and I believe, and they do in Canada as well, the indigenous people. um,
And
but
it
if
gets
you are
tricky too. It gets very tricky because, for example, we've talked about this with Canada, that for some of the First Nations in Canada, there's not a border.
right,
They did go into the US and Canada, and they straddled this land, and there's not really a border. So those type of individuals would be profiled better through them instead of through a global
right.
project where a country is involved, where borders are involved. So if
But
we
if
have
you
a customer for you already, David, so
yeah, so that's great.
what would he do? What would Steve
Well,
do?
in the specific question of stay, I can't see the chat room, so
Oh, it says, I think I might claim Tanzania. Tanzania, if I can say.
Tanzania. Okay. So yeah, all you need to do is drop me an email, and we can see about getting that set up. And that's I was just going to say, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of African tribes. Um, there's Asian um, tribal groups. So I'm going to send you, if that's your interest, I'm going to send you to whatever country group currently represents that area, and then again they can work with you as to whether or not it needs to be a separate project or not. But as far as Tanzania, yeah, drop me a note, and just to remind me who you are and how to contact you, and I'll get in touch, and we'll see about getting it set up.
I'll give you a hint who he is. You are actually on a hangout with him.
Oh yeah,
It'll come to you afterwards. But I like that the reason why Steven's interested too is because he's part of the Germany project, and there's a
okay,
connection there as
yeah.
well. So this list will be, when will this list be open for anybody to see?
January 1st, I plan to have
Okay.
this page unlocked and accessible to anybody that is interested.
And then I think that everybody here, if you have a particular country in mind, reach out. Reach out to Dave. But I don't want you to get nervous about this either, because this is ongoing. You will not finish this ever. This is like a one name study or one place study that doesn't have a
Yeah,
locked date.
this is not a challenge. This isn't
No.
something that has a start and stop date, and we expect you to have, this many connected by that date or whatever. This is just an ongoing study group in a sense. You get together with people, and you do research and figure things out. There's no set goal. Um, it's whatever you want to work on. If you've got family and you want to just trace your own family, this will be a place. And I'm going to go right now. We're going to head on up to a country page so you can see what it involves. That'll give you a better idea. Um, but yeah, what you and your team, if you decide to be a manager or you just join as a member, what you do with it is going to be up to you. So we're going to go to the A's, and I'm going to start with. I think I'm going to start with. Let's
And
do
while you're doing
Afghanistan.
that, we have about 10 minutes left. So if you have any questions or any comments, please let us know. If you already know you really, really want to reserve a country, feel free, let us know.
Okay. So I picked Afghanistan. It's the first country alphabetically, but also I picked it because I'm imagining very few WikiTreeers do Afghani um, genealogical research. So what is the website going to provide us? So this is the template. If you decide you want to adopt Afghanistan, this is the website that you'll be given. Um, the first section just again talks about the project and what it's all about. Um, you can see it's got me down as the project leader. I want to get my name off of as many of these as possible. So the first thing we have here is geography. It just tells you basically where Afghanistan is located, and what its political divisions are. It says here we got 34 provinces. It tells you what the largest city and the capital is. Very brief, but just gives you an idea of where this country is and what its political divisions are. It gives a little bit of history. Now, this is not, you see here, it's got four small paragraphs. This is not a textbook on Afghani history. This is just enough that if you're going to be doing some genealogical research in Afghanistan, this is basically what you need to know to get started. You need to know what different entities oversaw Afghanistan during different periods. Was it a colony of another country? Was it was it a kingdom? Was it independent? Just enough to give you a brief primer. And then if you want more information, you click right here, History of Afghanistan. It's going to take you to the Wikipedia page on the history of Afghanistan. Also gives you a little timeline that of some key events as they that might be genealogically important. Um, the demographics, we talk about the various ethnicities that you're going to be encountering and percentages, the different languages that are spoken in Afghanistan. Again, links to the Wikipedia pages for more information, a link here to Google Translate if you need it, and then the religion. So we've got the ethnicities, the language, and the religion summarized here to give you again an idea of what kinds of records you might be encountering. Naming conventions. This is something that's going to need a lot of work from the manager. I put up a little bit, but one of the biggest obstacles we have or struggles we have on WikiTree with non-Western names is how to interpret them and then how to get them into the various boxes that are provided for us. So when you have a name that's 20 words long, where are you going to put all those names in the box? And how are you going to make sure it comes out um, as it's intended? And are you going to put the Latin version, or are you going to put um, the local language um, what's the word I want to say? Their alphabet, and if you're using the local language, when it comes to some of these countries, like African nations, you might have 100 languages spoken in one country, native languages. So how are you going to address that? We want to have some consistency. So once we get an Afghani team together, we want to come up with a decision on how are we going to do all of our Afghani profiles on WikiTree, and that'll be up to the project. And that's what they already do that on the Sweden and the Norway project and the Scottish project. But that's what we want to have done for all of the countries. Then we've got the current heads of government. Now, right now, we've got our Taliban leaders here. So this is not a challenge. We are not necessarily trying to get people connected or anything. It's just to provide some information and to link. So we do want to have all the current world leaders at least have profiles on WikiTree. When it comes to Taliban leaders, we're probably not going to have a lot of family connections. I have a section on the monarchy for every country that's had a monarch. So either the current monarchy or the most recent last monarch. When you click on his name, you should be able to then go back in time. Let me just see here. Well, they don't have a succession box, but that's something that's been in the WikiTree news lately. We are kind of redoing our succession box rules. But you should. Oh, I'm sorry. On Afghanistan. No, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. But you should be able to link back. If you've got the most recent monarch, you should be able to go back in time to the very beginning by just clicking back. And then I've got a few notables that I've just picked at random. If you take over the project, you can come in and change these. Again, this is not a challenge. Some will be connected, some won't. This is just to say, hey, look at some of the famous people that come from our country. Um, if you want to actually do a full notables project, my suggestion would be that you create a second page and link to it. Um, we do also have a link to the categories page, and you'll see here um, some Afghani profiles that are already famous people. I have no idea who they are because it's all written in the native script, but again, that's something that you'll be able to work with.
Now, will
And then
I
we have,
get a page
I'm
like
sorry.
this? Will I get a page like this when I say pick a country and say
When
I
you pick a
want,
country, you will be given a page like this, and it'll already be up and looking like this when you get it.
and then
Um,
you can
so you don't have to create it.
you don't have to create, you've got all the basics, the really, really good information, and then you can add your own touch to it as well. And I just want to point out we've got about 5 minutes left. So if you do have any questions, now's the
So ask your
time.
questions. I'm just scrolling through so you can
Yeah.
see this is Albania. It looks um, just like the other country. I'll scroll through a couple of these so you can see them. And if you've got the links, you're free to, these are all the A's are open. Not everything else is open. Now you will notice if I go to Australia, it's just going to take me to the Australia project. So
Okay.
it's not going to look like ours. Um,
So
there's a
don't
couple
come to
like
David and
Algeria.
say I want Australia because he's going to say taken.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say, go talk to the Australia people and see if they'll
Yeah.
hand it over to you. But, we got Andorra, tiny little country. Same thing, history, timeline, demographics,
You're
world leaders.
giving us a really, really good head start. So when you take over managing a country, you're ready to go. You've got gas in the car, the air's in the tires, you're ready to go. And you could do what you'd like with it. Do you want to focus mostly on notables first? Because sometimes that's the easiest thing to do. Do you want to just add maybe some of your own ancestors, or maybe there's a particular sport in this country that you want to focus on and start with those type of notables as well. It's really what you make of it. You just know that you're never going to finish. You're always going to have work with this, and don't stress out over it. Maybe you decide that you want to work on this with a thon. David has a global team for the thon as well. That this is something that you could work on during the thon. Join the global team and work on adding, connecting, sourcing in this particular location. This is fantastic. If you look at this, this is a complete space page ready to go, and you decide where you want to take it.
I have a theory that a lot of people would like to
Mhm.
work on or run projects, but don't have any idea how to begin or are afraid
Yeah,
to
that's a
start.
good point.
So that's my hope, is that if we get it started for you, maybe it won't be so intimidating. I do want to show you that we've also got a few resources here, and we have the National Archives and the National Library for every country listed as well. Um, you may not realize that there's an Azerbaijani National Archives online, but there is. I'm scrolling down real quick to it. But here's the link. You can go straight to the Azerbaijani National Archives. Now, what they have, I don't know, but that'll be up to you to figure out.
And then, so if you're interested in a country, I've dropped the profile of David's WikiTree profile and just reach out to him, send him a private message. He's also on Discord. And let's see where we can go. Guys, we really need your help. This is a really big deal for WikiTree. We want to be global. I'm sure that everybody has heard or seen something on G2G that says, hey, more information. I want to have more profiles in this location or that location. You don't have it there. You don't have the country there. This is solving that. We are going global because people are global. Genealogy is global, and you connect to the one tree. This is a pretty big deal, but David's going to need our help to complete
And
this
that's
and get it started.
WikiTree's motivation for this project is to help us become more global. If you look here, I've got the key websites or other websites. Ancestry.com does not have any Azerbaijani record collections. Cindy's list only lists Middle East. Um, so you'll see that on most of these. It says these other sites have nothing. We don't want somebody that has Azerbaijani ancestry to come onto our site and look around and say, you have nothing for me, and go away. We want them to at least have a site, even if we don't get an Azerbaijani team going. At least we got a page now. They can go there and they can find out information. So that's our real motivation as a company, is to make sure that no matter where you're from in the world, there's a spot for you here on WikiTree.
There is. And this is, like David said, this is a great way to take your research or take your curiosity one step further. If you want a little bit of a challenge, you want to volunteer and give back to WikiTree, this is a great way to do it. Pick a country, look at what's available and pick a country. So after this broadcast, I would recommend go look at the page and take a sneak peek. If this page is closed when you're looking at this, you might be looking at this after the live cast. Just reach out to David. He can let you know.
Yeah,
If you have a
contact me.
country that's interested, he can let you know. So I know
Yeah, I'm gonna
everybody.
leave this.
Huh?
I'm gonna leave it up for at least 24 hours, so it'll be up through Monday. Um, I don't want to leave it up too long, because then I start getting a lot of emails from people saying, "Oh, you forgot this and you forgot that."
Or you're invading
So
Australia, I see, or
yeah,
that
yeah.
right
So
there.
it
Yeah.
it starts to create anxiety amongst people and that. So we're not going to leave it open. But if it's closed when you're seeing this video, email me and I can give you a sneak peek. Privately, that's not a big deal. So
That sounds good.
just
Now,
let me know.
I think we've answered a lot of the questions. I don't see any other questions. And I gotta say too, I'm gonna take this down real quick. So this is amazing work. I mean, you were getting a full country space page delivered right there. So it's really, really cool. I'd love to see more people volunteer. And I know Mark is one that's already volunteered. And I can tell you why. He saw it on Bingo and he instantly reached out to David to go ahead and manage a country. I believe he already has access to. If
You should.
you jump on board now, you can have access to your country page.
Yeah, if you sign up as a manager, I will give you access, and you can start getting things ready and coming up with your ideas and even recruiting people before January.
And I've got to agree. Carol's right. This is the next step for WikiTree. This is taking us global, guys. This is a really, really big deal. So if you saw the video at the top of this program and the globe in the hand, where is WikiTree taking you? It's taking you global. As we close up, I just want to thank David for being here. This is kind of
Well, thank
planned
you, Sandy.
that this would be the last program that we talk about as we go global. So I appreciate everybody hanging in there. It's been a long weekend, but it's been a fun weekend. I hope everybody learned something, found out something new, maybe shared something that you learned, share it on social media, share it with your project or Discord. Take this information from this program and think about it, share it. Maybe you know somebody who would be interested. I like how Stephen said that there is somebody, it's a cousin of his that might be interested in joining this project that he wants, this country that he wants. So, this is what collaboration is. And thank you guys for hanging out for the presentation, the symposium, and WikiTree Day 2023. Let me ask you guys a quick question. Well, I'll ask David, do you want to see this is probably the one and only time you're going to see it again. Do you want to see the video one more time before we close up, or do you want to just hang out?
I would love to see the video one more time,
Okay.
and I'm going to embarrass Sandy and let everybody know that she is the one that created that video. So I thank
It's
you for that. It was
no problem. And I will tell
wonderful
you
intro.
a couple things about this video. It came to me in about 5 minutes. I don't know how, and I do not know how I'm going to compete with myself again with this video. But everybody was extremely jealous, David, because they said that you got the coolest video out of all of them that we
Well, I'm not
created
going to
today.
argue with them on that.
So if you guys watched any of the projects today, the countries, we created specific country intros as well. They're really fun. Go up on YouTube and you can see the YouTube shorts from WikiTree. I'm going to go ahead and say thank you for joining us, and we'll say bye, and we'll play the video one more time.
Thank you, everybody.